This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to call to order the Woodburn City Council meeting of April 11th, 2002. Please join me for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start, and we have the roll call, please.
Counselor Cabrales? Here. Counselor Swanson? Here. Counselor Carney?
Here.
Counselor Schaub?
Here.
Counselor Cornwell? Present. Counselor Puente?
Here.
Mayor Swenson?
Here. All right. We have none of the above for announcements and appointments and proclamations. So we do have business from the public. Arnold Ponce would like to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Last year, I approached the council for adding verbiage to the parking ordinance because of the flood of commercial vehicles into the neighborhood, and it was tabled because of COVID. And I'm requesting the council, since COVID's over and we're all not wearing masks, to re-implement the request.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Oh, to make a request to reinstate the request on the previous request on the commercial vehicles in the neighborhoods.
Mr. Ponce, you have to kind of get really close to the mic. I think I could have a hard time hearing you too. I'm sorry about that.
Hello.
That's better. Thank you.
Is it on? Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, that's my request for the council, and reconsider the request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, moving to the consent agenda.
The items on the consent agenda are as follows. Woodburn City Council minutes of March 28th, 2022, and building activity for March 2022.
All right, any questions or?
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that we accept the consent agenda.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, move to general business. The next item is Council Bill 3179.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Council Bill number 3179.
Council Bill 3179 has been duly introduced and is a resolution, and as such requires one reading. May we please have the reading by title only if there's no objection.
Council Bill number 3179, a resolution authorizing acceptance of a special Public Works Fund grant for the Butteville Road Realignment Project and authorizing the city administrator to sign and execute all necessary documents to that effect.
All right, staff report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Jamie is on her way up. As Jamie comes up, I kind of want to talk about this item and a second item on the agenda. We've received some questions about these and the relationship to the Amazon project today. And so I wanted to address this tonight before Jamie delivers a staff report on each one of these, to point out that these two grants are helping offset, are helping supplement a solution for Butteville Highway 219 to solve a problem that existed prior to Amazon. I think maybe people who aren't familiar with Woodburn or aren't familiar with that area of the city haven't recognized that S-curve out there has been a top safety priority and hazard for the city for literally years. And so the proportionality test in Oregon around contributions of developers to improvements in infrastructure like this highway are limited to the impact that the developer makes on the transportation system. The existing problems continue to be responsibility of the local government. And so Amazon is contributing somewhere in the neighborhood of $6.5 million to transportation improvements. That's directly proportional and related to the impact that they're making in this community. We are not subsidizing that project at all. This money is grant money that Jamie was able to leverage into the city, both this item A and B. that will be proportional to the existing problems that have been on this highway and the city's responsibility well before Amazon was even here. And so I think it's a little complicated to understand that, even though we're using employment numbers to justify our eligibility for some of these dollars, that the problem that these dollars are intended to design are capacity problems and safety problems that existed well before Amazon. We would be on the hook for these costs whether Amazon was here or not. And so, I did get some calls on this today from people thinking that this was a subsidy for a development in the community, when in fact, it's not. This dollars are going.
What did you just say? Thinking it was a subsidy for, I'm sorry.
For the development in the community.
Gotcha.
And it's really not. It's dollars that we're using to supplement the portion of the problem that existed prior to that development as we go on with a fix for that part of the highway. So I kind of wanted just to throw that out there because I know some people said they wanted to hear this tonight, and I've been asked this question, so I wanted to just put it right out there for the council before Jamie gets into her staff report on these two items. And by the way, I think I want to thank Jamie also for being able to get these dollars. These dollars were through grant applications of the state, and there's high demand for transportation funding everywhere. And we were able to get a significant portion of money into the community to help solve that problem that the taxpayers otherwise would be responsible for. So the taxpayers in Woodburn would be responsible for. So thanks for that, Jamie. Is there any questions about that from the council? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, long time. It's nice to see everyone tonight. I'm Jamie Jonk. I'm the Economic Development Director for the City of Woodburn. And Scott's given you, a lot of the background on the current questions that are coming forth regarding this $1.5 million combined. Our department, our Economic Development Department, Planning Department, Marion County, ODOT, and Public Works actually started studying the OR 219 and Butteville Road intersection about 2 years ago. We received a small grant from DLCD. We went out and said, here's some opportunities. We did not have a business on the hook at the time, a bird in hand, as we like to call them. So there was no Amazon when we started this project. And moving forward, we identified that there was going to need to be some significant realignment of Butteville Road to accommodate the current traffic and future traffic as Woodburn continues to bring industrial opportunities to the community. As you all know, this is not, the Amazon site is not the only industrial land that we have available to the community now or into the future. So staff was looking ahead and wanting to make sure that we were prepared for these developments when they took place. The best opportunity for improvement to that intersection at OR 219 and Butteville Road was a roundabout. At that time, we came up with some ideas. Again, there was no company there. There's no big development taking place, so we kind of had to wait. But ODOT and Business Oregon, both the funding sources for these two grants that we have received, have just been waiting until we got that bird in hand to where we can use these economic development monies. These are not transportation dollars. These are not planning dollars. These are not public works dollars. These are specifically tied to economic development projects where there are jobs being created. It's very specific about that. So these funds are dedicated to jobs being created in a community. So when Amazon did come into the community, ODOT and Business Oregon said, let's go ahead and move forward with these grants for your vision, your being the team that was looking at that intersection and that Butteville Road realignment prior to Amazon coming on board. So Scott explained the proportional amount. So essentially we were looking at a $4 million project. I look back at Curtis, he's not looking at me. About a $4 million project prior to Amazon coming on board. Now it's at nearly $8 million, of which the 1.5 will come from 500 from Business Oregon and 1,000 from ODOT. Immediate opportunity funds to the city of Woodburn, nobody else, it comes to the city to offset those costs. And Amazon will be paying the 6.5 million, just shy of that, for the remainder of the improvements being made. This is not a tax abatement. This is not a benefit. It's not a special allocation of funding. These are monies coming to the city of Woodburn it's kind of the city and Marion County and ODOT all chipping in to do these improvements that we identified 2 years ago that needed to be done with that roundabout. And this is just our way of being able to do some contributions towards that. So as Scott said, I had worked with Business Oregon and our ODOT partners and got the application submitted. And it's, I've been asked, why didn't we say anything earlier? I know you guys were apprised of it because Scott let you know when we did apply. But it wasn't really a public conversation. It's a grant. You never know if you're going to get the grant or not going to get the grant. So I've been asked why I didn't say anything sooner. Well, we didn't know until last week we were going to be funding these. We got our letters of confirmation. So it's a wonderful opportunity to know that we have our partners right there with us. ODOT to be at your side with this development is amazing. And Business Oregon and Marion County supporting Woodburn and the endeavor we're taking on with this development as well. Now these improvements don't get us just through Amazon, it should get us through the remainder of the development for industrial lands in Woodburn. So we're looking at this longer down the road than just today. So that's something important to think about. What McKinsey put together for us, and I see McKinsey's on the call, is the council bill and the resolution supporting the acceptance of these two funding these grant funds, and then authorizing the city administrator to proceed with signing the contracts once we get those, and helping with taking care of any additional documentation that will be required. We do not have the ODOT contract at this time. It will take some time. And of course, the Business Oregon one is stuck in DOJ. Mackenzie, did you have anything you wanted to add regarding the resolution or ordinance?
No, I think you well covered it, Jamie. The primary thing is just that this authorizes the city to accept the award of these dollars. And like you said, we'll be receiving two separate agreements, one from Business Oregon and one from ODOT. And once we have those contracts, they'll be reviewed through our legal team, and then the actual disbursement plan for the funds towards the identified projects will be made at that time. And the resolutions just authorize the city administrator to execute those documents in addition to the acceptance of the funds into the city.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Questions?
Jamie, I have a question. Once these funds are allocated and approved, do you have any idea when the construction of this roundabout will take place? This spring, summer? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
I had to look over to Curtis on that one because I know that they've been going back and forth pretty consistently on the design and everything. And I've talked to ODOT probably more than I have our internal team lately about it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And did you say they were $500,000 each, the numbers?
No, it's 500,000 from Business Oregon through their special public works funds.
Okay.
And then 1 million from ODOT immediate opportunity funds. And the $1 million would be attributable to the roundabout, whereas the 500,000 is for the Butteville Road realignment because of the type of funding. ODOT dollars cannot do Marion County Road, and the special public works can't do ODOT roads. So.
Who's handling construction? Are they outside bids, subcontractors, or is it crews, city crews?
As of right now, I believe it's going to be KB that's bidding, and they've contracted with the state, so they're the ones that are doing all the for us, the county and the state.
Then this piece of land, maybe explain that is part city, part county, and then part Amazon, right? I mean,
Amazon, yeah, because
they're donating part of the land to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're donating the right of way for the Butteville Road realignment. Marion County has jurisdiction up to where their realignment will cut through the Amazon property, which will be in the city limits. Mm-hmm. Then the roundabout, by what I understand, is going to be ODOT. It's on ODOT land, and it will be ODOT property. I do not believe we're taking the maintenance of that, are we?
Yeah, it's like a three-pronged approach. So we will have a section of road that usually you go road from the roundabout to where the county
stops or starts. And so that section that's going to get into the roundabout from Utville Road will be city responsibility. So,
You-
Marion County has, we have it, and ODOT has it.
Yeah, Curtis, if I could just jump in on the tail of that. One of the things that's a real success about this, and I'm glad you're talking about it, is how complicated this project has been. We've studied solutions to this transportation issue in West Woodburn for a couple of years now, well before there was any development in the industrial park occurring. And because it is multiple jurisdictions, different ownerships, private ownerships of right-of-way, and some of the solutions that made it very expensive, it really seemed a daunting project for a long time. This is kind of an elegant solution that come about that is going to solve this problem. When just not that long ago, it seemed like we would never be able to solve this problem. So it is a complicated project. It's not a simple project, and it's one that's been a long time coming, I think.
Congratulations, Jamie, for having the foresight to go for the grant ahead of
Yes.
time and have it there for us when the development actually begins.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yes, I agree with that.
Well, and Jamie, it's an art form. Every time you come, it was almost apologetic. I'm sitting and I'm listening. I'm thinking, I know how hard you've worked in the past on some of these things, and I know how hard this entity probably made this to prove and get. So nice job, as always. Like, I'm in awe of you. It's an art form, and you slay me every time.
Well, thank you, but it really is a team effort, and working with the multi-jurisdictions, it truly has been amazing. I've never in my entire career, and I've worked with a number of different jurisdictions, I've never seen ODOT and the county jurisdiction at the table with the local jurisdictions as I have with this one. It's really been amazing watching all of this happen.
No, and I can tell you from all the meetings we have with the regional meetings from North Marion County, so people from Donald and St. Paul and even like Newburgh, this intersection and this improvement's gonna, it's gonna have wide-ranging impacts for the people heading from here to Malala. Like, it's,
Yes, it's going to make improvements for far greater than just the Woodburn community.
Including agriculture.
Absolutely. We're not interrupting. We're actually improving the access for those agricultural and farm workers who are going to and from out there now.
Well done.
All righty.
Yay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, this requires a roll call vote.
Counselor Schaub,
Yes.
Counselor Carney,
Yes.
Counselor Puente,
Yes.
Counselor Cabrales,
Yes.
Counselor Cornwell,
Yes.
Counselor Swanson,
Yes.
All right, Council Bill 3179 has been duly passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Council Bill number 3180.
Council Bill 3180 has been duly introduced and is a resolution. Such requires one reading. May please have the reading by title only if there's no objection.
Council Bill number 3180, a resolution authorizing acceptance of an ODOT Immediate Opportunity Fund grant for the Butteville Road Highway 219 roundabout construction project and authorizing the city administrator to sign and execute all necessary documents to that effect.
If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote.
Counselor Swanson,
Yes.
Counselor Cornwell,
Yes.
Counselor Cabrales,
Yes.
Counselor Puente,
Yes.
Counselor Carney,
Yes.
Counselor Schaub,
Yes.
All right, Council Bill 3180 has been duly passed. Next is the award of construction contract for the library chiller replacement. Assuming Jesse's going to explain what that is.
Are you a chiller?
Chiller. All right.
I'll take it.
Thank you, City Council, Mayor Swenson, Jesse Quilmer, Community Services Director. Yes, so what I'm bringing to you tonight is for the award of the contract for the library chiller project. The library chiller is basically the cooling system for the library. Instead of having an AC unit or a heat pump or some other things, it's called the library chiller in this case, so or chiller. And so in March of 2021, KFAA Engineering, sponsored by Energy Trust, came through and did a technical analysis of our systems. And we've worked with Energy Trust, as many of you know, for a lot of our projects, really trying to do a lot of energy efficiency projects across the whole city system. In that analysis, they found that the chiller was kind of ending its useful life, plus it was just not energy efficient as you would see, obviously, with updating it. We have continuous minor maintenance issues that obviously tend to pile up. And as many know, the library is used as a cooling shelter in the summer and things, so it is definitely a key component to different services we offer in the community. In that analysis, KAFF found that there would be an estimated annual savings in energy of about $3,300 annually, in addition to an additional about $7,000 annually on maintenance costs with the replacement. We're also working with Energy Trust for a reimbursement or for an incentive on this program, which will be about $12,000. They're finalizing that number now. It's not as large as some of the other incentives we got in the past, but they're still chipping in some funding there, which is good to see. It is important to know, obviously a big topic of discussion right now is supply chains and things like that. So this project itself, we're looking at about a 6 to 9 month lead time on the equipment. And so we're hoping, and once we actually receive the equipment, we're looking at an installation within about 30 days. So we do feel confident that the current chiller will be able to get through the summertime, but we're looking forward to having an updated one into the next year. So kind of the financial impacts of this is it was budgeted in this fiscal year for this project was, but it is going to span 2 fiscal years. So you will see this in this fiscal year and hopefully in the adopted budget in the coming weeks. So just as a heads up, you will kind of see this twice because it's going to span 2 years, depending on when we get the equipment. So with that, it's staff's recommendation, or I should say there's, so all of this information we did go out to bid just a little bit ago, and we did opened bids on February 25th. We had 2 qualified bidders for this project. One at $183,000 with DSL Builders, and then the winning qualifying bid at $180,000 with Apex Mechanical. And that comes under or within the range of the engineer's assessment of $150,000 to $200,000 for this project. So, and I guess one last component that will be also factored into this that we'll be working with separately is you have the chiller itself, which kind of provides the cooling to the building, but there's also control systems and sensors, and we're going to be contracting separately for that piece. It just made more sense with this project. We bid it a couple different ways, and it makes more sense to separate out that piece because it's kind of highly specialized work, and to install CO2 sensors and other things that were recommended into that Energy Trust analysis that was done. So it's staff recommendation that the council and the mayor kind of put forward the award to Apex Mechanical in the amount of $180,000. Here for any questions.
I have a
Any
question.
questions? Yep, go ahead.
Yep, I got a question.
I will do my best.
So the 180, you said that the recommendation was spend 150 to 200,000 overall.
Mm-hmm.
That includes this $180,000 bid. Does or does not include the electronic?
The controllers? No, it doesn't. So we did an initial bid process for this, and the bids, when we had it all combined into one larger project, it was upwards of $250,000. And so we looked at the project as a whole and said, hey, is there a way for us to do this and kind of take that specialized work and work with specialized contractors for this separate controller piece and the CO2 sensors and things like that. And so we thought it was best to have the people that really do the equipment install focus on that, and that's this portion here. And then having that additional controller piece, which we've had some preliminary bids around $20,000 for the total project, should be between, about 200 to probably $210,000 compared to original bids, which were around about $250,000.
So you did separate the bid process then?
We actually went to a full separate bid package after we got those initial ones that were just astronomical. We just said this isn't the way to go about this, and so we're separating those components out.
But both components will fall into both budgets, both
Yeah.
consecutive budgets.
The actual controllers, depending on when this install comes in, it'll probably be actually into next fiscal year, because that's kind of the tail end of the project is when those controllers go in. They won't go in initially, right when the chiller's ordered and things like that. But yeah, so we'll have, most likely how this will work is we'll have a deposit of some funds or something like that so they can order the equipment, but we're not going to actually receive the equipment and do install until next fiscal year, which when those other components will trigger.
So staff's recommendation is to approve the $180,000 contract for the actual mechanical equipment.
Exactly.
And then an additional.
And then we will be going out to bid or looking at additional contractors for that specialized work with the
And you stated that you have one bid right now at 20,000?
22,000 and some change, I think is the number. I don't have it exactly on my head.
No, that's okay.
Something like that.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Jesse.
absolutely.
Jesse, what's the estimated useful life and what is the warranty for the equipment?
That is a good question. I don't know exactly which equipment that they're putting in at this time, so I don't know the warranty on that. I believe the estimated useful life is for these units are between around 25 years, but I'd want to double check that to be sure.
Well, if it's 25 years, it would certainly pay for itself in less than that, based on the estimated savings.
Yeah, absolutely.
That brings a follow-up question. So is the installer also the service entity?
No, the Apex Mechanical doesn't do the servicing. So we would go through one of our other contractors who do the annual servicing and things like that for the equipment.
Other questions?
Nope.
All right. Requires a motion. Second.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that we award the construction contract for the library chiller replacement to the lowest responsible bidder and responsible and responsive bidder, Apex Mechanical LLC, in the amount of $180,000.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All righty. The city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You may have noticed that the Family Resource Center has a brand new coat of paint on it. It was power washed and painted last week. Looks nice. You know, paint can cover up a lot of stuff and it looks great. The the sign that we ordered should be here, I think, within a month or so. So we'll see a new sign out front. Should be pretty close to being done by then.
Great.
I've handed out to you what I'm calling the new growth map. It's updated every now and then to show the latest developments occurring around the city. It's kind of an interesting thing to look at, and I'll try to hand those out as they're updated over time. This is, I think, the most current one we have, and it's pretty interesting, I think, to look at if you want to get a sense of the scope and depth of the types of projects and are occurring around the city right now. It's exciting, and it's keeping us busy. And finally, we have our budget committee scheduled for April 30th. That's coming up on a Saturday. We're going to try to meet in person again, the first time in 2 years. Pretty excited about that. And the budget should be available before then. I'm still working on the budget message and putting some final polish on it, but it's substantially close to being ready to go. And in there, you're going to see a full listing and accounting of the remaining ARPA funds based on some of the city council's prior directives on that too. We're pretty excited about those projects. That money is, I think, going to go a long way to helping us achieve a lot of things we want to achieve in the community we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So that's coming up. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have unless there's any questions.
What time the budget meeting?
They'll be on April 30th, Saturday, the 30th from 9 o'clock. And usually we don't go much longer than 2. And lunch is usually Subway.
All right.
And you're bringing coffee.
And I'm bringing coffee. Okay. I'll put it in the thing.
The record shows that the mayor is supplying free coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, all in
To
favor.
Great.
You didn't think you were gonna get into it.
Yeah.
did you?
Lo siento, muchacho.
All right, any councilors reports? Do you want to, anything to?
What do you got, Sharon?
What do I have? Well, I'm really excited. I'm going to the Tulip Festival next week. I'm taking some out of city friends. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is I just looked at this activity around Woodburn. It is amazing. And when I think of all the work that the staff has done in handling all of this, especially through COVID, when they were short-staffed and, you know, it's all happening and it's planned ahead. The city administrator, assistant city administrator, you know, Jamie, Jesse, all of them. And I'm sorry, I'm not naming everybody, but everybody's worked so diligently. And I'm so proud of Woodburn and what we've accomplished. And it's just getting better. That's it. Thanks.
Try to follow that.
For the record, Counselor Schaub smells amazing, whatever she's wearing. It's really nice.
Sorry.
Just saying, she smells great. No, probably one of the most interesting things that I have to share is that a house, 3 houses from mine, sold for $606,000 doll hairs. And I just think that's great for that homeowner. But for someone who helps house people who struggle with that, it is just a real, it's eye-opening, right? Like when you're trying to sell a house, it's super exciting. It really is to have those kind of prices. It's just really important, especially looking at this map that Scott put in front of us. For the record, looks like this, right? Like if you guys want to see this, you're more than welcome to see it for sure. Just really important to note that these types of projects, where while sometimes we catch a lot of heat about building, etc., like we have to build because there are people to live in houses. But it's exciting to see this kind of economic development. But this kind of economic development should not happen without the kind of forethought that Sharon just extolled, that the city staff and administration, and hopefully us as counselors, give very a lot of thought. So anyway, that's all I got.
I'd just like to say Friday morning was a great time at Legion Park for the groundbreaking. And the mayor was in rare form. It was
I was a little
really
happy.
It was really cold,
Yes.
but the mayor gave a wonderful speech, which went on and on.
That's why we're good
It was
friends.
history, and we named the Californians and the.
Yes.
But the important thing was that we were breaking ground on what was probably the mayor's first promise to this council when he was first elected.
Right.
And promises made, promises kept.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Anything?
Scott Derrickson, didn't you have something to share about Legion Park and Amazon? You didn't share that.
They were there and they made a presentation about supporting the community and the project, and we're excited to see that they're involved in the community. You know, I think there's been a lot of questions about will a company as large as Amazon be engaged in the community, and you know, we're very pretty confident and happy that they are. And I would say, stay tuned for the rest of the full extent of what that company is going to bring to the community.
Thank you.
And according to Jesse, they're going to be online in September or October or August.
I got my soccer ball ready to go. Yeah. All right, Councilor Puente or Councilor Cabrales?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I'm in my car parked. No, I echo Council President's comments about just Legion Park on Friday, and also just very grateful for our city administrator Jesse and everybody involved in that. As Legion Park, yes, is in my ward, but there's a buzz and excitement about this because it's it's so good for our, not just our area and neighborhood, but for our city and what it can do. And so for me, it's just exciting. And again, as Councilor Rob mentioned, promises made, promises kept, and it's exciting to see everything that's going on. And one thing I think I mentioned maybe to a couple people that I would like to see is maybe that a construction camera for this whole project to see a time lapse. I think that would be awesome, and historical, because I think this is history in the making for our city. So, but other than that, I'm proud of the job that's being done and the work that is to come. So, bravo to everybody.
Councilor Cabrales?
I really want to echo what Councilor Puentes just said. I think that would be such a good idea. And I'm really, really excited of all the new projects that are coming together and making Woodburn the amazing place to be and live.
All right. I can just repeat what I said at the park, that that having been like on the Parks Board, like the plan to remodel Legion was there like when I arrived at the Parks Board, right? It's been a thing that has been in the works a long time. And I think we've mentioned that in our website, right? So since 2000 and whatever. So I think yeah, well, it was a thing that I made a good video about and was championing. And nice to have Councilor Puente came on. That was a big reason for him to run for, I think, city council, since he lives like 4 doors down from the park. Yeah, really all kudos to the staff that's been planning that for a long time. And then when it was ready, kudos to our city administrator, who was able to work with SDCs and ARPA funds and the business across the freeway to kind of to make it what and I can hear Councilor Ellsworth in my head,
Yeah.
it wasn't just, not just good enough for Woodburn, right? This is going to be great enough for to be a regional model. So yeah, when our city administrator saw that this was now possible with the funding from the state representative and the funds there, he said, well, you know what? Let's make it the best we could possibly be, right? And it is, yeah, you can see it's getting all kinds of buzz everywhere on everybody's pages everywhere. So yeah, to really be a crown jewel and a legacy for our city staff. So, thank you. All right. With that,
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone.
Night, Debbie.
Good night.